report. Javino Woods had a high ankle sprain, which he suffered on Tuesday of last week, and he did not dress. He'll be doubtful for this week also, and also Gabe Carrell pulled a hip flexor in the game, and he's doubtful for this week. Koshik and Force, probable. Those guys will be day to day, and we think we'll get those guys back this week. Faulkner and Clemens will be out. Western Kentucky was a real young team last year, and improved tremendously from week to week, and end up winning 7 out of the last 8 games. Quarterback Jakes right now is completing over 70% of his passes, which gives them another dimension in their offense. They already are a physical downhill running football team, and now they're a team that can throw the football also. So another dimension that you have to be able to defend. They get a lot of production from their tailback position. Their tailbacks are averaging over 5 yards a carry. This recruiting business is such that, you look at the Andrews kid, and everybody was saying that he was an athlete, but he wanted to be a quarterback. What could he, the guy's returning punts for him. He's playing tailback, done an outstanding job. He's averaging about 18 yards of punt return, 23 yards of kick return, and doing an outstanding job for him. He was a state champion quarterback at Fort Campbell, and kid that I watched grow up in high school from recruiting down there, and he's doing a really good job for them. And it's just the whole tailback position is the tight end is one of the top tight ends in the country, a big physical guy that understands how to set in windows, and he catches the ball and gets upfield, does a really good job. Defensively, I think their defense and offense also benefit from playing against each other. The offense is a real physical team, a power running offense, and to have to defend that daily, you have to be physical on defense. And the defense ranks 12th in the country, led by the linebacker, the Jackson kid, number 4. He had 17 tackles for loss last year. He now already has four tackles for loss, and he's the leader for those guys on defense. They had 6 quarterback sacks Saturday against Alabama, and the Smith kid had 3 of those. So that's a really good defense. They do a really good job of playing physical, stopping the run, and getting after people on D. So huge challenge for us. Again, we have got to be physical. That's what this team likes to do on all 3 phases: offense, defense, and special teams. Again, huge challenge for us. We have, and a lot of people always say when you're running this type of offense, it's really tough on you. We run some downhill plays also. It's one of the things that we wanted to keep. When we went to this offense, we wanted to keep the ability to run downhill. We wanted to keep the ability to play multiple tight ends. So, we did not want to, be a team that defensively that you never saw those type of plays. So, we'll see some of it against each other this week to try to get ready, prepared for this game. We've always, the last couple of weeks, we went 3-on-3 on Tuesday, which is a full speed drill, just to try to set set the tone and the attitude of practice. So we'll continue to do that to try to match how physical these guys will play. Any question?
Coach, when looking back on the game Saturday, to the naked eye, obviously it was a good performance at the score and everything. As you went home and looked on tape, what stood out to you there?
Well, there's still some plays out there to be made offensively. We had a couple drops that I thought that were catchable plays, and a couple runs that we just didn't press the line of scrimmage long enough and trust the blocks. Again, one of the things I said here Saturday was it was a little bit of inexperience by the freshman tailback. I was wrong. Again, to the naked eye, you think the guy cut back. He had nowhere to go. I mean, he had nowhere to go. I mean, he had to cut back. I mean, we didn't block it very clean. We stayed on a double team, didn't come off to the backside, and he had nowhere to go. So, again, he ran to what he saw. So what was not him. It was just we didn't do a good job up front. So defensively, can't give up big plays. They have 4 X plays that we consider X plays, a 15-yard run or a 25-yard pass, and we can't give up those type of plays. Special forces, I thought we played clean except for one of the kickoff returns where we hit the guy in the backfield, on the return, and have a chance to, tackle him about on the 12-yard line. He bounces it, and they end up with the ball on our 44 with the penalty. So those are the things that you can't do in tight ball games. Okay, you can't give up those big plays. You got to get the ball in the end zone when you get a short field like we did last week, and then you have to make sure you contain them in the special teams area.
Joker, Randy said an interesting thing after the game about the deep ball. That Max has said that's the one thing he wants to be better at. Randy said you guys practice at such a breakneck speed that you're killing your receivers anyway, so you really can't work that a lot. How do you balance those two things?
Well, one thing we got to do is just set up some drill work where our quarterbacks are hitting we might put our receivers down the field about 30 yards, and as they hit their back foot, our receivers take off so they're not running as much. But we've got to get the ball down the field. We had an opportunity once with LaRod. Our longest pass play has been about 23 yards, other than Sweat's run. Sweat had the 56-yard run, which is behind the line of scrimmage, and broke a couple tackles. So with a really good block by Morgan Newton out there. So, but we have got to stretch the field. The play that we hit Aaron Board on was a post pattern. But we were going in. That could have been a big one had we been out in the middle of the field also. But we've got to get the ball down the field. You've got to get people off of it, because we will start seeing people set on our routes if we don't take some shots down the field. We had a couple called, which is just all goes. The quarterback picks a side and works it. He didn't feel comfortable with it and dropped it off, and dropped it off to our tailback, which gave us some pretty big gains. I like that he's taking what he likes and what he sees. But sometimes on our all-go routes, we've got to give our receivers a chance. That's the thing. Give those guys a chance. Throw it up. Let those guys go up and make a play for you. And it also keeps them off of you. So we've got to continue to take some shots.
Trevor, defensively, yards are easy to keep tabs on how many you've given up, how many you haven't. But how much better were you, or how much progress did you make in terms of alignment, communication, all those things from week 1 to week 2?
We were a lot better. No doubt about that. We were a lot better getting lined up in a hurry. Here's the thing. We're going to see tempo throughout the year from offenses also. So we have got to understand that we've got to get lined up in a hurry. You just don't get lined up, but you got to get lined up in a hurry because we're going to see it. We're going to see a lot more tempo. The first 2 teams, although the first team that we played at times, especially on the goal line, did some tempo stuff. We did get lined up to it a couple times. So the thing we have to do is not only get lined up, but get lined up in a hurry in case they shift, motion, do all the things that teams do that you have to reset your front. So, but we were much better. We've got to continue to get better, and a lot of that has to do with the communications with our linebackers and our D-line, I think, understands our packages, understands the call. We just got to get the calls to them a little bit quicker.
Joker, when you watch Max Smith operate, the end of last season, spring, and especially these first 2 games, is it hard to sort of connect him to being the same guy that turned it over on 3 straight snaps early in his career?
Yeah, I mean, he was a pup. You know, he was a pup last year, and that's I just don't understand how tough it is. You know, how really, really tough it is to go into those type of environments and make plays. You know, he's a year old. He never had any, he really didn't have many one reps. He was playing with a bunch of inexperienced receivers, and now those guys are much more experienced, or more comfortable, and some of those guys were uncomfortable last year and understanding our packages. So a lot of it has to do with just him maturing. You know, when we knew that he would, you know, he would someday. I shouldn't say we knew, because every time you sign somebody, that's the thing you think. But we hoped that this would be him someday. Again, we decided in 5 practices that this would benefit him, and it has. It's not only benefited him, it's benefited some young receivers. Our system is a little bit more simple also. It gives those guys a chance to find grass and catch the ball and get up the field for us.
Did you get a taste of maybe his mental makeup? Did it show you something, that a guy can pick himself up from? I mean, he said he sprained his face. I didn't even know that was an injury against LSU. That he could pick himself up and then within the same season go back out there and, you know, do what he did down the stretch.
I think I sprained my face there before. Maybe in the LSU game too. No, it says a lot to him, because, you know, the times that he got a chance to play, he didn't play real well. You know, I mean, but you know, he got a chance to play in the LSU game, late in the Florida game, South Carolina. He didn't play real well, but when he went in the game against Mississippi State, and I don't know if he knew that Morgan was out for good and couldn't go, but you know, he stepped up, played really well for us, played really well the next week, and. You know, so he got better every week, and he looked like a different guy in practice though, when he knew he was a starter. And then this spring, and I got asked this weekend about the competition. You know, Max went about his business this spring and this summer like he was the starter. He kind of, you know, and that's the thing. Every time we've had a guy win the job, they've went about this thing. Andre Woodson. Mike Hartline, those guys went about the business like they were the starters. So what happens is they believe, get ingrained in their mind, hey, this is mine, you know. And then the other guys start to see that also, that this guy's our guy. Let's cling to him, okay? And the reason why I know that, I had a quarterback like Bill Ransdell. He went about his business that. So who am I going to latch on as a receiver? I'm going to latch on the guy that thinks it's his. And that's what our receivers, you know, I thought you saw a lot of that this spring and this offseason.
Last week you talked about simplifying some things on defense. How much benefit do you think you got from that Saturday?
Well, I think we got a lot of benefits from it. Again, we got a chance to get lined up. We got a chance to come off the ball, come out of your hips, get your hands on people, you know, get them off of you. You know, there wasn't a lot of movement side to side. There was a lot of movement going forward. Able to play with a little bit more weight on our hands. So I thought we benefited. Again, still gave up too many big plays. You know, and again, one thing you do is when you simply give guys a chance to win one-on-one battles. I mean, you can't stop everything. There's not a defense out there to stop every play, every down. There's sometimes guys got to win one-on-one battles, and I don't think we gave our kids a chance in the first game to win one-on-one battles. And I thought we did a better job of it this week to give our kids a chance to win one-on-one battles, and that's what the game comes down to.
So what are you looking for in inserting Leonard and moving Black to the weak side?
Well, I mean, getting our best 11 on the field. And it was a shame that the guy that's been around here 4 or 5 years, played a lot of football, because we moved from a 4-3 to a 3-4 defense. He doesn't get to play as much. He's got to rotate with another senior. So it was just an opportunity to get Taylor Wyndham on the field along with Bud. And we actually moved Taylor this year from defensive end to a rush backer. So he's backing up Bud Dupree But Taylor's kind of one of those guys that he's a guy without a home. You know, he's not a real big guy. To play with his hand in dirt, he's probably a better pass rusher than that's probably the best thing he does. And then at the rush linebacker, he's not a great athlete. He's a good athlete to play out there in space. So he's kind of a guy that was without a home, and we played him inside last year at the 3 technique, which is really difficult for a guy on his side, but he got in there and fought and scratched and did everything we asked him to do. So we wanted to give him and Bud an opportunity to play at the same time. So we started repping him at the rush linebacker, and we felt like he was better than our wheel linebackers. Okay, therefore, which one of those guys can play wheel? Bud can. So we moved similar to the thing we did with Tay Nellums, the thing we did last year with Tay Nellums, moved him to safety. Okay, he gives us the best chance to move somebody because he was the better safety, more physical guy last year. This year, he's the better corner. So we try to get our best 11 on the field. Therefore, we moved Bud to wheel linebacker.
Joker, Saturday night, Bud seemed to think it was at least possible that move was really a stopgap, maybe a temporary thing, as a guy like Khalid Henderson or one of these young guys gets his feet under him. Is that fair to say, that you'd like to see one of those guys, maybe Henderson, step up and
possibly, but they have to be really good. A lot better than Taylor Wyndham to be on the field, or a lot better than Bud Dupree to be on the field. But it was not a temporary thing. It's a thing that we thought that we needed to do to get better on defense. Now, if those guys come along and we feel like those guys are playing better than either Taylor or Bud, it could be temporary. Okay, but I kind of doubt that. I think these guys are much more experienced, much more knowledgeable about defense.
Joker, will you expand a little bit on what you think Morgan can give you at other positions other than quarterback? You mentioned it the other night, but kind of how you think he'll fit and maybe ways that he can help you moving forward.
We have to. We have to try to figure out different ways. And again, it's just hard. We've got to get this small packages. He didn't get a lot of reps last week, maybe 5 to 10 reps last week of the things that we asked him to do, and then we asked him to do the block on the perimeter on the touchdown. I don't know if he practiced that one time. That's some of those things he shouldn't have to practice if you've been the quarterback around here. And so, but we'll continue to build on the packages that he can do. Last week he was more in the bunch package and running routes. And then when we get in the game, he didn't run any routes. He blocked the whole time and did a really good job. He was at times a little bit more explosive than even our tight ends. And we don't really know how strong he is. I think he's a really strong kid. Nobody knows how, because quarterbacks don't lift like the tight ends. But I think he is a strong physical guy.
You had him and Whitlow on the field at the same time. Is that part of that package you want to develop for Jalen?
No, it wasn't anything that, we didn't have a package for both of them. It was just, hey, Morgan, you going at the H-back to that right now, and we wanted to give Whitlow a series. We'd like to have gotten Whitlow a series even earlier. We just didn't do a good job of, scoring enough early or getting them stopped early enough.
So why didn't you guys give up on Aaron, just move on to a freshman receiver?
Don't give up on anybody. Don't give up on anybody. I mean, it's just offense benefits Aaron also. It does. We're not a big vertical down the field football team. And then you start getting, you're talking to a guy that wasn't real fast. But that doesn't mean you can't play. The thing you have to be, if you're not real fast, is a physical guy. Okay, you have to be a physical guy, and that's the thing that Aaron's bought into. Okay, that's the thing that he's bought into, is being physical. People would tell me, "Hey, you wasn't fast. You're right. You're right." I mean, I get that, and I probably couldn't play if I wasn't physical and wasn't willing to play special teams and those type of things. And the thing that Aaron's done is he's gotten to be a physical guy. You can't come up and press him because he's a lot more physical, and then he's doing an unbelievable job on the perimeter and blocking. So That's the reason why he's getting an opportunity. I'm so proud of him. I am. Again, I've watched Aaron since he was like this, so nobody's more proud than Aaron than myself. And at times, I would pull him aside and try to coach him up myself. Okay, hey, here's what you're gonna have to do to play. Okay, a receiver that's not real fast, like he and I, you have to have all your weight on your front foot so you can explode off the ball. Okay, we can't waste steps. Okay, he would have his weight back, and then it makes a guy that's not real fast slower. Okay, and those are things that he and I talked about, and he's now, worked on being physical, and those are things that gives especially a big guy that's not a real fast guy, a chance to play.
Joker, I know you guys love T, and he was a really good recruiter. Is Pat Washington, just at this stage in his career,
He's too
a better
old.
developer?
He's way too old. He is. He's too old guy, and he just can't relate to these young guys. And, Aaron doesn't respect him. All those things.
Fair point.
Hey, you know what? Pat Washington is my age.
So he's really old.
So yeah, I mean, I coached him a couple years before. So I mean, again, he's a knowledgeable guy. This game, and everybody thinks it's a young man's game, and it is, no doubt about it. It's a young man's game on the field. Off the field, it's a guy that has knowledge, okay, and how to get your players to play. And Pat Washington has that. He has the knowledge and understanding how to get his guys to play. Okay, it's about relationships, regardless of how young, how old you are. It's about gaining a relationship with the guys and understanding who they are, okay, and what they can do. And that's what Pat Washington understands.
Can you talk about Aaron's maturation process? Once upon a time, I remember you said about him, he knew the lyrics to Kanye West songs, is about all he could say.
He did. You know what? And he came up to me, and we would practice, and one of those times the Kanye West song was on, we would practice. He said, "Coach, this is the song that we all got in trouble with as a freshman." I don't remember it. I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Did you saying that we knew the lyrics to it?" And he did. But he's always known, as a freshman, a lot of those guys, it was kind of a struggle with those guys at times, understanding offense. But Aaron's never had a problem with learning the offense.
What does that do for your team and for your other guys when you've got somebody like that who struggled to get in there for 3 or 4 years and then finally as a senior? What does that do to that if you're in the same spot?
It's a great teaching tool. I mean, I've had guys that walk on here that, in the second year, actually the first year, come into my office and say, I really, Coach, I don't know if I'm going to get an opportunity, or I just don't know if I'm going to be able to cut it. Mikey Benton in year 4 was not invited to training camp. Okay? Hey, see this thing through. Okay? In year 4, Mikey Benton was not invited to training camp, but yet he comes back and we have an injury, we invite him to training camp, and he starts for 12 games. Okay? Sell him to walk-ons. Okay, see this thing out. It's way too soon to give up on something like this. Okay, same with Aaron Boyd. Right? Guys that come in the office and say, "God, this is a struggle. I'm having a hard time." Hey, continue to work. Aaron Boyd. There was nobody more happier in our locker room than the rest of the players. Not Aaron Boyd. Our guys, they were screaming, "Aaron Boyd gets the game ball." Hey, I mean, we can't do that, but I mean, I would have loved to give him the game ball, but. That's the thing that, our guys have watched him grow up, and watched him, take the coaching, and watch how he responded this offseason to things. And nobody's more happier than Aaron, for Aaron, than this whole team. I mean, it's not just this. Aaron's happy, and I'm sure he is. Okay, but our whole team is happy for Aaron Boyd. Okay, it only helps us sell to the rest of the guys. Like. Booty Cobbins is not getting, he's not getting a lot of reps, and Cunningham, those guys they're still young. So they continue to work, continue to learn, continue to do the things that we ask them to do.
How did Alabama Western get so much pressure on Alabama's quarterback?
I mean, they're really talented. Those guys won a lot of one-on-one battles last. They did. The defensive end, won his battles, and the linebacker won a few battles. I mean, that's the thing. Those guys do a really good job of putting pressure on the quarterback, making it uncomfortable for him. And the coverage schemes helped them also. They did some good things in the back end also.
Joker, you simplified on defense. Were there any tweaks or changes in scheme at all?
on, no, I mean, we based out of this, the same structure. There wasn't, we played a little bit more 4 down, which is still in our package. I mean, but there wasn't any terminology change. There wasn't any, we have a lot of defense, therefore we just called a small package of it. Okay, and gave those guys a chance to line up and play.
Rick took the blame on one of those touchdown runs and kind of said, it's having this kind of reward sometimes for our scheme. Is that still kind of something that he's working with?
Yeah, I mean, it was a call. Again, you can't stop everything, with every defense and toe break. We don't need to trust, but you got to stop something. Stop the best thing they do, and then allow our guys to win some one-on-one battles.
Can you talk about Poncho, what he brings to the table?
Physical guy. He's a box player. He's not a guy that is going to be out in space. Guy really loves to play the game. Again, he was one of those guys that I saw that the closer we got to the game, he changed. His demeanor changed. His attitude changed. Same with Darryl 2 weeks ago. I saw Darryl Collins before the game and saw the same guy I saw in practice. Okay, I saw the same guy I saw in practice. I didn't see that, and I told you guys, he was a different guy on Sunday of last week. He was the same guy Saturday as he is in practice. And I said that to him before the game, actually. Shouldn't say, I punched him in the chest and said, hey, where are you? We need that same Darryl Collins. So, and that's the thing. I mean, the Poncho, he's a different guy as the game. Now we need Darryl Collins to be that same guy that we saw last Sunday. He was I didn't recognize him. And I don't want to recognize him on game day. Okay, because we need Darryl Collins.
You talk about the benefits of bringing younger guys in and introducing them, but what kind of benefit do you see with the older guys? I mean, does that kind of
I think you hear so much about these young guys. It may help those old guys step up their game too. Aaron heard about these young receivers. I'm sure how talented they are, and they are talented. But Aaron worked his tail off. Again, his niche was blocking, and everybody's gonna catch passes in this offense. Okay, everybody's gonna catch passes. You've seen it. We've had 10 guys and 11 guys in the first game, 10 in the second game. Okay, find your niche to get yourself on the field first. Aaron's niche was, we were not a good perimeter blocking team. Okay, and their head coach is a guy that we must be a great perimeter blocking team. And the 2 guys that block the best is Aaron Boyd and E.J. Fields. Those guys are playing, okay? That allowed those guys to get on the field. And now they both are benefiting from being on the field, because you're going to catch passes if you're in this offense.
Joker, last year, pre-game and early in the game, some of the Western kids said some things to some of your kids that kind of might have gotten in their heads a little bit. You hope, as part of you hope that your kids are on that this week?
I don't know what they said, but we don't get into that. I mean, I respect this game way too much to, and there's really nothing anybody can say to get me ready to play this game. I mean, shoot, if I was those guys, just given an opportunity. We only guarantee 12 opportunities. That should be enough. Okay, that should be enough to get anybody ready to play.
Joe, your general thoughts on the SEC jet? A&M Missouri open at home. Things look like it was going well both games. At the end of the day, they're staring at losses.
My general
thoughts on SEC and the new guys?
It's a tough league. Those guys they played tough also. Both of them were ahead at one time or another, I think, in the game. And the quality SEC opponents, both of those teams are.
Has the offensive line been a pleasant surprise for you so far?
They have. I wouldn't say surprised. We expect it from them, but they have done really well in protecting our quarterback, opening up running lanes, communicating, and that's more the left side than it is, I think, the right side and the middle.